So he's associated with Sitara at the at IIT Bombay. His interest includes food process engineering, food nutrition connect, and agro-based industrial application. He is co-recipient of IIT Bombay's Dr. P.K. Patwardhan Technology Development Award in 2013 for developing processes to make improvements in jaggery making, and the recipient of IICHE Hindustan Dor Oliver Award for excellence in use of science and technology in rural development in December 2004. Present on nutrition from NutriGardens, review from global experiences, a possible entrepreneurship model towards enhanced possibilities of success. Can we have his slides, please? Over to you, Professor Shah.
Yeah, good afternoon to everyone. To begin with, I would like to sort of, congratulate CFNS for taking this initiative. Because all since morning, I think 10 o'clock, I have been seeing the score of the participant. It has been close 100, 99, 100, 99. And to the effect that, I was in the beginning, I was going through some glitches of joining in the group. It was saying more than 100. So really congratulations. And that shows the kind of interest and kind of warm up for this concept of NutriGarden. Although one would say that this is something which you can call it as a really out-of-box idea. We have been hearing about these kitchen gardens, and in the local language called Parasbag, we call it in Marathi. And we have been hearing this, and NutriGardens is really very well coined in the sense that we have sort of nutrition issues, or really malnutrition issues on one hand, and these possible resources required to create this, either through household model or a community garden model. We can sort of, I'm sure most of the group here, I don't think anybody would have a second opinion about the merit of the concept of NutriGardens. To my mind, question is, how do you make it sustainable? Having started, how do you sort of sustain this initiative? And also, like, all in the group are now all, we would call it as sensitized, initiated, and all that. So how do you get those who are uninitiated into initiated? So to my mind, these are the two important questions. How do you convert? How do you sort of make more people to undertake this, to deliver nutrition using this resource? And second is, like, how do you sustain what was started? I would call that, like, if you take a human, and if you have a human hand as one organ and mouth as another organ, I would say that NutriGarden is the hand, and sort of malnutrition is mouth. So we need to make this, we need to take this hand to the mouth. So Dhaneshwar, please go to the next slide. So I would not really, because there's so much, I always feel that if you come almost towards the last end of the seminar, you have a plus and minus. Plus is like most of the, what you wanted to say has been said. And and minus is, of course, like, people have said whatever you wanted to say, that so perhaps some of the slides can become redundant. So can you go to the next slide? So all that, all those keywords were said about, like the important cohorts, for example, malnourished children, nursing mothers, adolescents, and then, tribal communities where it is most needed. So all that, as an academician, I had put those definitions and all that, but I don't see here now any need, because all those who have joined on this group know about this. What are the symptoms of malnutrition? How do you define malnutrition? What is stunting? What is wasting? What is undernourished? And all that, I think definitely, the important elements here are put it in the red font. What you say is like consumption pattern and the dietary diversity that we do through these surveys, in order to gauge, let's say, in any district or any sort of block or any villages, what is the kind of malnutrition and how do you get the causality. So more often the causality comes to the inadequacy of dietary diversity, and no doubt that the nutrition garden is an important sort of concept which can address to this hidden hungers, nutrition deficiencies, then next slide please, all those frequencies and the sort of issues in terms of delivery of nutrition. And therefore we in the name of CFNS, we always say it as nutritional security. Like if you come from the history of Green Revolution, that time it was the food security. Now the food security has shifted to nutrition security, and what we need really in the current context or in current times is ensuring that all the and the data really is indicating that I think there is we are far from our goals, and we always say that if we can have the goals doubling farmers' income in 5 years, I would say, can we sort of get this, let's say, at least 50% of these districts malnutrition free? And although one would say that it is easier to make these slogans, but how do you go beyond these slogans? How do you sustain those things? So the idea here that I want to present here, next slide please, Gyaneshwar, please come to directly the entrepreneurship model that I want to present here, because everybody understands what is malnutrition and the merit of Gyaneshwar, please go to the next slides and come to the entrepreneurship model. What I want to propose here really is I mean, you have the household models, community models, and we can really learn from things like, how did we handle the biogas implementations? We had a organization, countrywide organization called KVIC, and then how did they go to this entrepreneurship model? How did they sort of handle community, the maintenance, sustenance of, I mean, we do come to know that, 50% of the biogas digesters are no more working. So we do not want to have that kind of a thing. We had such great presentations about the dissemination from even not only government schemes, but also from the CSRs of organizations like Piramal, and then we have Aziz Premji and the NGOs like BIF and all that. So once we have created that, how do you sustain it? So my proposition here is to identify somebody who is 10th pass, give him a plot of land, be it 1,000 square foot, 2,000 square foot, 3,000 square foot. Let him sort of give something to that Anganwadi where children are malnourished at a subsidized rate, whatever sort of MOU that the government organization can sign with that entrepreneur, young entrepreneur, and whatever is excess of his production, let him sort of make profit out of that, and then he can sustain with this. So this can be a sort of a very sustainable kind of a model. Gyaneshwar, who is helping me with the slides and who has been helping with the CFNS from Tara's side, he's going to work on his MTech, and he has already circulated his survey form. And if we can, of course, the methodology of creating demonstration has happened, but how do you really make it like a people's program? You don't need a NGO or you don't need a CSR of a certain corporate body to sustain. So if we can sort of demonstrate that this can be a good livelihood operation, and as Professor Agnihotri said in the morning about COVID and the fallback of COVID, saying the economy and the sort of opportunities of work in the rural areas. I mean, there has been a reverse migration. People have shifted from urban areas back to their own villages, and many a times they don't have any work at hand. So this, if we can capture this energy and sort of can create a win-win kind of a situation where a person gets a livelihood, he doesn't have to again migrate back to the urban areas for work, and he can sort of connect with this nutrition issue it would be sort of, and in this, for example, whatever was said by Dr. Anshuman, for example, had put forward certain models, and also things like KVK, for example. See, you have here something which is called a training module. How do you get a right techno-economics? If, for example, the NutriGarden is not working in the open field, can we use a small poly house? And we have examples like in Pune, for example, we have this Abhinav Farmers Club. He has showed that if you have half an acre of area, you can make something like 5 to 8 lakhs of rupees per year. Now, we don't have to sort of have a very technology-rich the polyhouse model, but you can have one basic model where with some amount of investment, you can sort of provide this concept of NutriGardens. I mean, like, so you can have a open house or open culture of NutriGarden, a plot of 1,000 square feet, 2,000 square feet. Also, you can have, so this is the work that Gyaneshwar is going to do. And what I'm going to suggest to this platform, and I did chat it with Dr. Anshuman, that with his nice sketches that he drew about irrigation methods, about the package of cultivation, and the designs that he has sort of incorporated, if there can be some kind of, how to do manual. So if there is a manual that, we have in sort of, engineering materials, like how to build a biogas digester, for example, or how to build a house. So even if possible, I'm going to suggest to Gyaneshwar that if we can sort of integrate towards the end in a year's time, if we can have a spoken tutorial like we have on other subjects, like what my colleague Dr. Rupal Dalal has created, spoken tutorials on basic things like breastfeeding techniques. So something like that, if we can have a spoken tutorial as how to manage a plot, how to manage a plot in very dry areas where water is scarce, how to manage in very wet areas, for example, in Konkan, 3 to 4 months rains, and then, you may not have the sort of, good photosynthesis and all that. For in the open cultivation, the things could be muddy because the type of soils you have. So what types of crops to grow, what types of vegetables to grow in different seasons, different agroclimatic regions. So this would be something very good, sort of, both a scope for writing a manual on how to, as well as creating a spoken tutorial, so that it becomes a people's movement, so that it gets disseminated. The knowledge is there, experience is there, but somehow, as we see, our data is keep on suggesting, and none of us feel proud that 1/3 of the malnourished children globally are present in our country. So on one hand, when we say that we have arrived, we are a nation which is arrived, we have all this data, from NFHS 3, NFHS 4, which keeps on throwing these numbers to us, that this is a problem which is not gone, and we still have districts to make malnutrition free. So this is what we call it as a horizontal technology transfer. I mean, there is a knowledge which is existing, let's say, with Reliance Group, or with a Piramal Group, or with a sort of, Dr. Anshuman. So I and the Dr. Bhavani, who made from RF. So if we have this sort of thing, and how can we do that horizontal technology transfer? We can have the technology packages, which is through the sort of different schemes. Somebody talked about convergence, like MG Narega, then sort of, Ministry of or the Livelihood Mission that we have, and Ministry of Rural Development, and so next slide, please. I think my 14th is my last slide, maybe. Next slide, please. Yeah, one before. Yeah, so let me summarize 4 points that I have said here. Problem of malnutrition is strongly linked to MMF and MDD. Dietary diversity can be improved integrating NutriGarden. So a very, very apt topic that CFNS conducted this webinar today. NutriGarden intervention can be run through private government or through entrepreneurship model, demo units to create positive deviance. Like once people see that, like you don't really require a great science and technology to sort of, initiate, run, and sort of have a Nutri garden which can also sort of survive on its own and not dependent on projects like Taco Inn or Reliance CSR or Piramal CSR. And so entrepreneurship model walking hand in hand with convergence models can lead to sustainable management of Nutri gardens. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir, for this inspiring and thought-provoking presentation on possible entrepreneurship model towards enhanced possibilities of success via Nutri Gardens.